Metal is a worldwide genre at this point. There are freaking metal bands on the Isle of Man, a country with a population of less than 84,000 people. Though with a flag like that, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that there are metal bands there. Welcome to Daily Metal, where every day a different metal album gets dissected for your sadistic listening pleasure. I'm the heavy metal lawyer Emma, and in this show I'll talk about why the music in these albums is so good and where they fall in the history of music's most wretched genre. On August 5th, 2011, Kuwaiti melodic prog death metal band Voice of the Soul put out their third and, in my opinion, best EP, Into Oblivion. I have two prerequisites when it comes to progressive death metal that may sound a little bit obvious, but in my opinion, a lot of the subgenres bands don't quite satisfy. Prereq 1 is that the music is actually well played. Any asshole can do guitar sweeps, tremolo picking, finger tapping, etc. Not a lot of guitarists can actually do those things well. Prerequisite number 2 is that the songs are well written and not just the musicians showing off how virtuosic they are for like 12 minutes a song. Ugh. Voice of the Soul satisfies both of those and then some. The band very shrewdly plays melodic death metal pretty straightforwardly and leaves a lot of the progressive elements in their music for guitar solos and interludes, similar to early Between the Buried and Me. Unsurprisingly, the band's lyrics are focused on great tragedy, like the track Guardians of Genocide, and righteous anger and revenge, like the track Cast Away in Betrayal. While the band is now based in the United Arab Emirates, which I'll address later, they're originally from the Persian Gulf nation of Kuwait. Kuwait was in some ways the first Gulf state to modernize under the leadership of Sheikh Abdullah al-Salim from 1950 to 1965, with the country's oil revenues being used for development instead of the personal largesse of the sheikh and his family. The country became a hub for research and science during this time as well. Unfortunately, that development and improvement of life was impeded beginning in the 1980s and pretty much lasting to the present day, with stock market crashes, the general instability of a small economy based so heavily in oil, terrorist attacks, mass deportations, invasions, apartheid, and attacks by ISIS. In some ways, the country remains a standout from its neighbors, particularly in regards to gender equality, but has nevertheless been a country caught in the middle of multiple wars and home to more stateless people than any other country in the region. But it isn't surprising that Voice of the Soul have wound up in the United Arab Emirates, specifically in Dubai. Really kicking off around 2006, Dubai has tried to market itself as the go-to tourist destination for Westerners in the Middle East. One of the ways it has done so has been supporting metal music in Dubai, most famously through the Dubai Desert Rock Festival, which has featured famous bands like Iron Maiden, Mastodon, Korn, and Motorhead. While there has been criticism of the local industry importing bands rather than supporting local acts, Dubai Desert did have the Shamal competition, where local unsigned bands competed to get a spot in the festival, with bands like Mankind, Galish Gurus, and Nerve Cell winning the competition in various years. And bands like Voice of the Soul have led to even more locally focused music, with an ecosystem sprouting up around institutions like Haven Recording Studio and the amazingly named record label ARG Kolkatib, and the former of which recorded Voice of the Soul's first full-length album, Catacombs. While the metal scene of Dubai was arguably a bit artificial and oriented to a tourist audience at first, great local bands like Voice of the Soul are chartering a path to create a real metal scene there. Have you ever been to a metal show in Dubai? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please subscribe so you can find out what the metal album of the day is, why it is so brutal, and where it fits in the history of the genre.